Hello, good morning. Welcome to the online Java classes. So before we start, I would like to quickly introduce myself, who is your trainer. I'm Rupali Daniel. I have completed my Masters in Computer Management and Computer Applications from University of Pune. I've been teaching since last 10 years now various computer related subjects like C, C++, Java, HTML, PHP for the postgrad students. Those are MCS students in colleges like Srinagar Institute of Management, Symbiosis College of Information Technology. Of late, I have also started off with my small startup where we do website development. So there were various projects which were developed under my guidance. Here are a few of the projects which we have worked on, and the links I have provided. If you have time, you can go through those links. So before we start off with our session, I would just like to brief you like how are we going to take this. Like I'll be uploading every week, that is on Monday, Wednesday and Friday, on Google Drive whatever videos which I'm going to share with you. I'll be uploading on that. Sorry. Once I upload the video, I will inform you that you can check it on your drive. You can go through it at your own pace, like whenever you are free and you have got time, you can go through those videos. Any doubts you have, you can WhatsApp me and let me know that you didn't understand a topic and you need a revision, or you need more inputs on that. If you have any doubts, I will clear it one on Saturdays or Sundays. So today we are going to learn coding. What is coding? Now we know that coding is an amazing thing. Every electronic device which you are using has got a program fed in it. Like every program, app and machine that has a computer in it runs on code. Okay, so you are using many applications in your day-to-day life, like from Facebook, Instagram to the medical machines, record systems, okay, that says lies. Then you have got automated gadgets. Okay, they all are having embedded codes in it. Okay, so coding is an integral part of any gadget to work, or any system to work. Electronic system, if you would like to work, you have to do coding in it. So the computer language, as we all know, that computer doesn't understand English language. It understands the language of zeros and ones, that is called as bytes. So the computer language basically is categorized into two categories, that is higher level language and the lower level language. Now what is a higher level language? Programming languages. The high level coding languages have a higher level of abstraction. This means they are closer to human language and farther from machine code. Now, what do you mean by machine code? Now, every machine has got a machine language associated with it, which is in the form of binary, that is zeros and ones. But we as a human, we don't understand what is that zeros and ones. So there is a way through which we can write the code. So that is a human language. So higher level coding languages have higher level of abstractions, that is we are closer to human language. We are not knowing how it has been interpreted. We write our commands and those commands get interpreted into the machine code. So high level language tend to be more automated, where a single programming command actually does many pre-programmed things to make programming easier and more efficient. So we have to write certain set of commands which will make the programming easier for us to understand. So there are different languages which come under this category, that is C, C++, Java, Basic, Fortran. These are all the higher level programming languages. So what is your low level programming language? That is opposite to a high level programming language. That is low level coding languages have a lower level of abstraction, and as you might expect are the opposite of higher level languages. They are closer to binary and farther from human language. So the low level programming languages are more close to the binary form, like the zeros and ones. Okay, while it may take more time and lines of code to do the same thing as a high level language, low level languages are far less restrictive and allow programmers to create far more detailed and efficient programs. So example of it is assembly language. Okay, here we don't write many lines of codes, okay, because it is directly in sync with the machine language. So we write very less lines of code and it is more efficient. But these languages are used in embedded systems, like all the gadgets. If you can see, we use this type of language in those gadgets, like your washing machine. You have different instructions which you give to the washing machine. Okay, so accordingly the washing machine operates. So for this we use a low level language so that it gets embedded inside the machine. So all the machines which are working with the, like your AC or your washing machine or your TV remote, okay, so these all are working on the low level programming languages. Now there are different types of programming categories, or we call this as programming paradigms. Like there are different types of languages which come under these categories. So what are the programming categories? Procedure oriented programming languages, object oriented programming languages, scripting language, database language. Now you must have learned scripting language, or like you have learned HTML. Okay, so that is a hypertext markup language. It's not a scripting language, it's a markup language which is used to create web pages. But you have a language called as PHP, JavaScript. These are the scripting languages. Now every language over here has got a objective associated with it. Okay, that is, the scripting languages are basically meant for web pages, websites, whatever we do. Okay, so there we use scripting languages. Object oriented programming languages are used everywhere nowadays. Okay, in your creating your mobile apps, or you create any type of an interface, so there we use an object oriented programming languages. Database languages are the languages which deal with the database. Okay, your structured query languages. So these languages, these types of languages come under these categories. So these are the programming categories which are present, and depending on your requirement, what you want, we select the different types of languages from these categories. So these are some of the languages present which come under the categories which we just now saw, like C, C hash, C++, CSS, HTML, okay, Java, JavaScript. So these come under the different categories. Like C is a procedural oriented language, C++ is an object oriented languages, CSS is your cascading style sheets, HTML is a markup language, Java is again a object oriented language. This is a scripting language. PHP is again a scripting language. Perl is a scripting language. So these are the different flavors or different types which we can use for our own objective life. Now we will start with what are the features of procedure programming languages. Okay, so what is a procedure programming languages? Okay, now procedure programming involves writing down a list of instructions to tell the computer what it should do step by step to finish the task at hand. Okay, now what do you mean by this? Now example, I need to bake a cake. Okay, so for this is my task, that baking a cake is my task. So I'm going to perform certain step of instructions and I'm going to list them down. That is, first of all I'm going to identify the ingredients, then I'm going to collect it, then I'm going to start the procedure, and then in the end we are going to serve it. So our task was baking a cake, and for baking a cake we followed certain set of instructions. So procedure programming involves writing down a list of instructions to tell the computer what it should do. Okay, so in a procedure programming language, we call it follows the top down approach. Now what do you mean by top down approach? You have a main function, and from the main functions there are sub functions which are being called. Okay, so in this above diagram we can see that first main function is declared, and from there other functions are called. This type of programming is also called top down approach. Okay, so this is a top down approach where a main function and every sub function which is being called has got its own objective to perform, or it has got a task to do. Okay, now we'll see a real-time example of a top-down approach. Consider that we have to write a program for fighting COVID-19. So our task is to write a program for fighting COVID-19. So what all things you will do? So you have a main program, Okay, now what all things you will do? First thing, maybe you can maintain awareness among people, arrange proper medications for patients, manage underprivileged people daily needs. Okay, manage people. So from the main program we are going to call, these are my sub functions which themselves has got certain things to do in them. Okay, maintain awareness among people has, maybe it will have many steps which they have to do in this. Okay, so we have divided our task into small functions. Okay, so in the procedure oriented, what we do, the main task is divided into sub functions. Okay, now it might happen that a particular function might need a sub function. For example, managing underprivileged people's daily needs is what, food and shelter, so managing their food and shelter. Okay, so this type of approach is nothing but a step by approach. Okay, step by step approach, which is an example of a top down approach. Let's see one more example where I have an example of a calculator. Okay, now in a calculator, now my task is to write basic calculator functions. Okay, so my main is a program through which I will call the subtasks. So I've divided it into small functions like add, subtract, divide, multiply. So procedure programming, what they do is, you have a main function and from there you call the sub functions which has got their own particular task to do. Now there are certain disadvantages also with the programming languages. That is, over here function is more important than data. Okay, that is, more emphasis is put on call of function and what it does, and not on the data which gets affected due to that function. Okay, that is, for example, over here we have this add function. So in add, what two numbers are we adding or what two numbers are we subtracting, that data is local, or maybe that data is not given more importance. The function call is given importance in procedure programming languages. And the data is exposed to the whole program, making it not much security friendly. Okay, so what does this thing mean? That the data whichever are declared inside the function, they can be accessed by any other function. So from the security point of view, the data is not secure. Anybody can access, if he has access to that function, he can access to the data which is declared inside that function. And the program code is harder to write when procedure programming is employed. Now why it is saying so? Like if you have been given a task which involves multiple steps to do, so the number of lines of codes will keep on increasing. Okay, so here, as everything starts from main, you have to have the flow, or you have to have the track of how the program is getting executed from main, then the next step, then the next step. So a proper tracking of the program is to be done, which gets difficult when the program size increases. So there are certain advantages and certain disadvantages. The advantages are, procedure programming is excellent for general purpose programming. The code can be reused in different parts of the program without the need of copy it. The program flow can be tracked easily. The focus in procedural programming is on what you are doing. Okay, or your more emphasis is what you're doing, not on what the data is getting affected. Okay, so here the emphasis is what are we doing. The procedural code is often not reusable, which may pose the need to recreate the code if it is needed to use in another application. Okay, that is, a particular program written in one place cannot be reused in some other program. Okay, so we need to recreate the same code in the another program. So here the data or the code, not the data, the code which is written in one place cannot be reused in some other place. The importance is given to the operation rather than the data, which might pose issues in some data sensitive cases. Okay, that is, as I said, that operation, the functions are given more importance than the data. The data is exposed to the whole program, making it not so much security friendly. So the key points what we have learned is procedural programming language is a structured step-by-step programming. It is used for general purpose programming. Procedural programming becomes complex if the size of the code increases. Procedural programming emphasizes more on function, not on data. So these are certain points which we have learned. Okay. If you have any doubt in any of the point, like you have not understood any point, let me know. I can explain you again with some more examples. Thank you.